Welcome back to FHTV Plus. I'm joined today by Nick from the football club. Nick, been waiting to get you on for a while. How you doing, bro? You good?
Good. Yeah, it's been a while. I always say Australia tax, the time difference always plays a part. Nowadays, the time is a little bit better now, so it's like 9 p.m. for me. It's like 11 for you, so it's nice. But then we have a time difference change ourselves, in which case then becomes a 3 hour gap. So it'll be like 8 p.m. for me and then 11 for you or something to that effect. So it just
Yeah.
gets, bigger and bigger. But yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me on, bro. Appreciate it.
No, good. Listen, the reason I've wanted to get you on is, I'll be honest, when I first saw your content, somebody messaged me and said, who's this Australian guy? He's made a video about you. And I was like, I don't know. I've got no idea. And I always assume it's just somebody slagging me off, right? You just assume. And then I watched it and was like, okay, I quite like this guy. Yeah, I like what he's about. For those that haven't seen, I'm sure many have seen you. What your content is very different to the normal football creator. Where do you position yourself in YouTube? Where do you position yourself in this market?
Yeah, it's funny though, because I would consider like football commentary, sort
Right.
of like I've always said this. I'm a content consumer first before I'm a content creator. I wouldn't even classify myself as a content creator. The term for me is a bit too cheesy, but ultimately it is what we are.
Yep.
And I've always come from that standpoint of watching people discuss certain events or interviews and debates and extrapolating things and delving deeper, not like a psychological standpoint. It's
Yep.
no chance I'm ever doing that, but more so like, okay, well, this is what they said, but why do they think that way? They use these examples. Do these examples hold water? What if there's a counter to that, but this happened as well? And little bits and pieces stem from there. So I've come from that aspect of a content consumer, watching that for 5, 6, 7 years maybe in other topics and genres, whether it be political debates, or if it's philosophical, or if it's your drama stuff, just slop you just want to watch. It's like, well, this person said this, and they have an argument, whatever. I thought, I watch football content, and I have watched it since like 2015 or 16, as long as I can remember. And it's always been the element of having a conversation about what was said. And I liken it to the same way as someone reacting or doing commentary to a news article. So you're
Yep.
reading a news article, XYZ said blah, blah, blah. Daniel Levy doesn't want to sign XYZ players because of blah, blah, blah. And you will speak on it. This is what they said. This is my opinion. I agree, disagree here. And to that I say, what I do is pretty much exactly the same thing. It's just in a different format. I'm not
Yep.
reading an article. Someone has said something and I'm responding or giving commentary in that sense there. So I consider it football commentary. Some call it reaction. But it's not just reaction where I just watch something off the cuff and I think, okay, yeah, this is, yeah, I pause, have a bit of a chat, whatever.
Yep.
I make notes. I'll listen to something, make actual points. If it has to be edited and pre-recorded, I'll do it. If I can do it live, I'll do it. So it depends what it is, from the most extreme to the most like whatever. We'll just kick back and we'll just watch something and we'll just discuss it. So
Yeah.
it varies.
So that all sounds fairly innocent, but as we know, I've seen things said about you and directed at you, as they are about me. That some people really like it. Like, I enjoy it. I watch your content and go, okay, well, actually, I missed the content that Nick's talking about. Let's have a look at that content at the same time that Nick's commenting on it. Other people not so enamored by your commentary of their content. Why? Why are they not happy? What have you had? What's been said to you?
The only person really that's actually messaged me privately, excuse me, and said like, yeah, I don't like what you're doing, in not those nice terms, in not in a bad way, but like, in a little bit like, hey, you watch what you're doing, sort of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Not non-violent, not violent, by the way, just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, really? I'm like, but these are your words. You've said these things, and I'm giving my opinion to them. I mean, if you didn't want people to speak about what you're speaking about, you should not be on the internet. You should not be recording yourself or putting words out there, posting blogs, articles, things like that. I mean, imagine a journalist thinking to themselves, oh, I don't want people talking about my work. Why become a journalist then? Why
Right.
research and write articles, sort of a thing?
So it's fair game. So basically,
Oh yeah.
face, camera, words come out the mouth. It's there for
Yep.
everybody to use. So let
Yep.
me ask you then, and obviously what I don't want to do in this video is name any names. I'm not going to name any names, but let me ask you then, where's the where's the line for you, Nick? Like, has there ever been some content that you've done where you thought, oh, have I crossed the line from commentary to slander or commentary to berating someone? Is there a line for you?
Yeah, I honestly, I try not to. So if you watch some of my stuff, you notice like I don't do the whole, you know, look, other people do it. That's completely up to them. Maybe I disavow. I don't particularly adhere to it, but that's how they want to do these things. But I try and avoid talking about somebody's appearance or making fun of them and things like that. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes if you have that rapport with them, maybe they don't mind it. But obviously people don't have that sort of rapport with me. I'm just a guy from Australia, you know, coming from the blind side and just like, whoa, this person said this is my opinion on that. Some people like it, some people don't. But when it comes to, I think the worst I've probably done, and ironically enough, was to Lee Gunner, and shout out Lee, who even he said to me the other day, we're on a stream together on another channel, and we're having a quiz game on FamZone. Shout out to the boys, and basically saying like, yeah, Nick, this is the first time I've been on stream with you, and you've cussed me out so many times, but like, in a nice way, guys, I can't not like you. So I can't not like this guy. And I thought to myself, if there was one video I did, it was, I think he was grilling people and he was just taking the piss out of them, like saying, I make this much money, you're, you know, born in deficit and you guys got nothing and all this. I'm just like, bro, like, why are you like this, man? I'm like, why are you at this level? And I thought that maybe would have been the worst part that I've actually gone to the levels of me, like going past the point of commentary and just saying like, bro, stop being a prick in a way, you know what I mean?
But
the worst things, yeah.
I want to ask you, listen, as a YouTuber myself, I find it very interesting that our words hold so much weight for people. And what I mean by that is this. It's not that I think, oh my God, I am the only one with an opinion. My opinion is the be all and end all. But I'm also somebody, Nick, that's quite comfortable in my opinion. If I do a video about Levy, about Ange Postecoglou, about Christian Romero, I don't need the validation of you. I don't need the validation of Spurs fans. That is my opinion. I'm comfortable with that. But we are a society now, aren't we, where the moment you get something wrong, the moment you predict a wrong score or this player, I don't like him, and then he scores at the weekend, people want to jump on. They want to hound you. Why are we in this era now of everybody needing the vindication of being right and also the viewers needing the vindication of proving you wrong? Why are we so wolf pack mentality with that on the internet?
Well, I'll start by saying I don't try and prove people wrong. I'll give my points as to why I think they're wrong.
Sure.
Maybe I might come across sometimes where I've come across and I've said like, well, you're wrong and here's why. Maybe I have a valid reason. Maybe it's just my opinion in that sense there. But there is this thing nowadays. I remember I was having a chat with Jacob about this, you know, shout out to United Spurs as well, a couple of weeks ago, saying like, we say something and people always hold on to that. So if I say something about Liverpool, or let's say, you know, someone else, a big channel says something about Liverpool, oh, Nick, such and such said this about Liverpool. Like, what do you think? It's like, what's not my opinion? I don't hold to it. Yeah, but your fans said this and they said that. It's like, so why is what they say more important than what I have to say as an individual? And if they get something wrong, go chase them. Don't come after me. I didn't say that. I didn't say go chase them.
But it's your club and they're a fan and you're a fan. You must all think the same, right?
Yeah, I have to defend it now. It's like, no, yeah, fair enough to him, but you have a problem with him. If you can't get in contact with him, I'm not a proxy for you. Like, I'm not a VPN. You're going to come to me. I'm not that person, bro. It's online. You have to be correct. And if you're not correct, you just deflect and just try and find any reason to remove any wrongdoings on your part, shall we say. And if you do say something that seems to be correct, you say it as a king. And you're like, oh, I told you so. And people look at you like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. They're so correct. You don't get everything correct every time. Sometimes things go wrong. But then, and I try to say this in a nice way, like you build this sort of ego about yourself, the persona that you've created online, on the internet, whatever it is. So the more viewers you get, the more interactions you get, the more your ego becomes inflated and you think, well, shit, I must be saying the things correct. Look how many people agree with me, type of thing. It's a streamer, it's a creator thing, and it's not new. It's been happening for the longest. think of people from back in the day when they did some madness on TV and then they ended up getting an interview and whatever. Now look, everyone wants their 15 minutes of fame. You got people saying one sentence quips on street interviews, and then they're millionaires, within a few months, bro. It's crazy. So what people say holds water. It depends on the person, the size of the channel as well, and how influential that person is.
You know what I've never understood, and in a minute I want to get back. I want to get to the quote of YouTubers exposed by their own words, because I think it's quite an interesting concept. But what I find really interesting is how angry, and I'm guilty of it. I'm absolutely guilty of this, Nick. I'm not an angel. How angry other people's opinions make us. Now, especially like when I see it, I get attack videos made about me, right? And there is a huge difference between a commentary video about what I've said and an attack video. And I don't mind a commentary video about me. When you do a video and you go, oh, here's what Savva said today and here's who he's round with, cool. Go, not, fill your boots. When I'm just being called a cunt and a prick and this for an hour straight, I'm like, why has my football opinion made you so angry? Why is that, Nick? I get it that this is our club and the tribalism, but how can little old me sitting here in South London saying I don't like Ange Postecoglou as a manager and that I want him sacked, how can that get under people's skin so much that they feel the need to make attack videos daily, hourly, like just vile abuse? Why?
Yeah, I've never understood that. I can have a different opinion, but then as soon as you have a different opinion and you say, well, I think they're wrong, I think their opinion is not valid, and these are the reasons why, and then that'll come back to them and say, oh, what an absolute prick. Well, what does he know? Yeah, like, I'm not attacking the person directly. I'm speaking about the person's opinion. I don't know what the person's like off camera, off stream and things like that. I might be the nicest person, help the elderly cross the road and whatnot. But after 5 minutes later, they're calling you a see you next Tuesday because they disagree with you. Like, football does mad things to people, and the internet especially does even worse things. For me, from what I've learned over my last year, I think it's been over a year since I've been doing this, is I think some people hold themselves to a high regard where if you disagree with them, it's almost like you're attacking them personally. I don't understand why. Like, yes, we're people, we're personalities. We all have, our traits and what people like about us and what they don't like about us. I've always said, I can disagree with you. Like, for example, Saeed, for example. Let's just bring Saeed TV, for example. Big up to Saeed TV, by the way. Man United fan. I'm a Liverpool fan. I despise Man United. I cannot stand Man United. However, I watch his streams because I like his personality and he's got something about him. Outside of that, I don't know two things about Saeed or what he does unless he wants to showcase that to the internet. So his personality is there. I can vibe with that. But what I don't understand is how someone can just attack somebody because they have a disagreement. Say he disagrees with me all the time. Am I going to sit there and call him a see you next Tuesday because he's laughing at Liverpool and whatnot? No. I think they have a little bit more sense than that. Some people, I think, just come at the angle where you disagree with me, therefore you're the worst person in the world and you're negative and this. I'm like, why, man? Like, even this whole Trent situation, I blame Trent. I blame Fenway Sports Group. Well, you blame, you're an idiot if you blame Trent. This is all Fenway Sports Group. Well, how so?
You're not a real fan. That's my favorite, Nick. My favorite is this. You're not a real fan. Yeah, but I've supported Tottenham for 40 years. Yeah, but you're not a real fan because you want the manager out.
Yes.
I do find it interesting. And look, if we get to the whole YouTubers exposed by their own words, listen, I am one that feels like, yes, everybody, not just YouTubers, everybody should have accountability for their own words. And what I mean by that is, if I've sat here, you know my opinion on Ange, you know my opinion on this manager. I have sat here and said he's the worst manager I've seen at Tottenham Hotspur. If this manager goes and wins the Europa League, I can still sit here and say, I don't like him. But I do at some point then have to acknowledge fair play. Great job. You got that done. Yeah, you were rubbish in the league, but wow, you've won us a European trophy for the first time in 40 odd years. But there's so many people that don't have accountability. And I find that the kind of disparity between the YouTuber and their viewers very interesting, because there's so many people in a comment section, right, Nick? And we don't know everyone. It's impossible. You know many of them, because they're the same people every day in your chat. But I see people that yesterday, this player was rubbish. Today, he scored last night, so he's brilliant. Those people are never accountable. But YouTubers, we've got videos of us saying it, right? And then what we do is we go onto other channels, and the first thing that person does is go, here's a clip. Here's a clip of you saying 6 years ago that this player was crap and he's just scored a winning goal in a final. It's a bonkers world, isn't it? Bonkers.
Like, for me, to relate it to Liverpool, I can relate. I mean, you can even relate it to when Brendan Johnson had his situation. Obviously, you know, deactivated social media from all the abuse he was getting, comes back and he scores week after week, goal after guys like, you abused him. You say, hey man, he scored goals. I can't say anything. Darwin Núñez is a polarizing figure for Liverpool at the moment. Luis Diaz as well. Yeah. One week he'll score you 2 goals to win your game, and then for like 2 months after that, he's absolute rubbish. But for those 2 goals that he scored, what did you say about Darwin? Are you want to celebrate? No, you can't celebrate him now. It's like, hang on a second. Like, I can celebrate and applaud, well done, but I can still not like you. I can still not have any will to want you here at the club. Like, I can applaud you when you do good. I can criticize you when you do bad. I hate this. Apologize to Darwin Núñez now. What for? What, because you scored 2 goals? Yeah, you won us a game. Thank you. That's your job. You're supposed to be scoring goals to win us games. You want me to say sorry for you now?
Everyone wants apologies. Have you noticed that? If we talk about YouTube in general, everyone wants apologies for something. I've never known anything like it. Like, if me and you have a disagreement, Nick, right? If we have a disagreement, I don't know, let me just pick a player. If we have a disagreement about a player who don't play for either of our clubs, Rasmus Højlund. If we have a disagreement about him, let's say I say, oh, what a great striker. You say, oh, he's rubbish. Then he scores a hat-trick in a Europa League final, wins Man United the Europa League. Why is the first thing I'm going to think of to go, Nick, you owe me and Rasmus Højlund an apology? Like, what? Where is this? Why is this need for validation of apologize? Please apologize to the professional footballer who's a multi-millionaire with a beautiful wife and a jacuzzi in his house. And what? Where does this come from? Why?
You know, it's a good point. I don't know why, but it goes back to the whole thing of like, you have a platform, you've said something, it's on record, it's there, the receipts are there. If they're easy to find, or they are there, if you look hard enough, you'll find the receipts. And it's just another way to like banter people and take the piss and have a laugh, which I'm all for. But if you remember someone said something 6 months ago, and then something good came of that 6 months later, and you went back to them and say, you said this in September. It's like, yeah, but it's May now. What the hell do I care about September? Like, do you still hold that opinion? Yeah, he scored a hat-trick in a final. Like, good for him. That doesn't make him a great footballer. I mean, shit, a clock is right twice a day. A broken clock is correct twice a day as well. You know what I mean? They could improve. We just hold each other to these standards that I think sometimes the people themselves that put these videos up and their opinions out there, they say, and then maybe they think, oh, hopefully no one caught me say that. But that's where I come into play, because I'm there to listen to everything, and I catch what people said. Hang on, they said that there, timestamp, clip, cool, got that on the notes. Oh, but then they said something different here, timestamp, clip that, marry them up together. Okay, so they said A in one instance, but then they said B in the other. So which one is it now? Which one do you believe? And that's what they don't like.
No, I do find it funny. Like, I tell you, one of the things I find hilarious is, as a Spurs fan, that's the only way I get categorized when I go on a panel show. So if I go on a panel show, if I go on Never a Foul, if I go on with Saeed, I go on, someone will go, Savva, what do you think about Chelsea? So I think Chelsea are good. I don't think they've got this. I don't think they're going to win. But you're a shitty Spurs fan anyway. But hang on. I wasn't answering the question based off, as a Spurs fan, I dislike Chelsea or whatever. I was asking answering, what do I think of this? And this mentality seems to be rife across the internet now, that you cannot have an opinion. Like, someone said to me, I got this all the time. Like, when I was on the Football Terrace, I was asked, are Arsenal going to win the league? And this was last year. I said, no, they will not win the league. Why? I don't think their manager's good enough. I don't think the playing team's good enough. I don't think the depth is good enough. They don't have a goal scorer. Man City are better, blah, blah, blah. What do you know about winning trophies? So, well, why ask me the question? Why ask me the question then, right? If the only people allowed to answer that question are fans of clubs like Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, what's the point of having the panel shows? What's the point of having the debates? I find it hilarious, Nick. It's madness.
I don't get it. I see it as well non-stop, and it annoys me. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it is funny at times when you see someone who disregards winning trophies, like Deji, for example. I love Deji. Deji for me is like, I love Deji. At first, I couldn't stand him. Now I'm like, bro, I can't get enough. I see Deji content, I click and I'll watch. Right?
Deji knows what he does. He knows what he's doing. That boy. He's good fun.
He's clever, but he will say, "Nah, man, I'm not shaking your bum for a Carabao Cup and this and that and blah blah blah." But then he's going to say, Arsenal winning no trophies. Like, with all due respect, Deji, if you're disregarding trophies, why are you going to speak on winning trophies when you're going to say no to your own sort of a thing? It always gets back to that thing. I don't know what it is. I think people just like to dunk on others and have a laugh at others people's expenses. And there's a balance between banter and football conversation. I think everyone wants to see the online banter and like people like going at one another and cussing each other out and things like that. Would you see what he said? Or did you see what they said?
Yeah.
And that becomes a bit too much. It can be entertaining, but most of the time for me, I listen to it. I'm just like, I didn't sign up for this, bro. I want to hear people have a bit of banter, but don't sit there and have a shouting match at one another because say, oh, but you only won one league in 30 years. Oh, but you haven't won the league. Yeah, but we've more recently. We're going to win.
Like me and Wolfie when talking about Nottingham Forest and Spurs. And he's going, yeah, but we won the Champions League in the 80s. And it's like, oh, but it's 2025. Like, you know,
yeah.
I love
Going
Wolfie,
way back when.
I love Wolfie. Look, the last thing I'll say is this. Look, I do find it funny. I always try to. I want football conversation. I like the banter. I think the banter's great. But I do ultimately, Nick, and I did ultimately set up my football channels to have football conversations. And what I find hilarious is the number of people that don't actually listen. And what I mean by that is, last night is a prime example. I do a show on a Sunday night called the Spurs Review. And I turned around and said, I like Christian Romero. I think he's good. I just don't rate him the way so many Spurs fans do. The next comments in the chat, can't believe you don't rate Romero. You think Romero's shit. And you know, when you're like, no. Have you, like, this microphone doesn't change the words I say. Like, that's what I find hilarious now, that you either think a player's amazing or shit. And there's no, you can't turn around. I'll use an example. I don't know your opinion on this guy, by the way. You couldn't turn around and say, Gravenberch, good player. What do you mean good? He's brilliant. Like, what do you mean good? He's shit. Like, you can't just be labeled a good player nowadays. You have to be sensationalistic. Drives me nuts.
I hate it too. You want to throw an opinion out there. It's when you say like, oh, I like Gravenberch has been solid. He's been solid this season. Nah, he's been our best player. I think McAllister's been our best midfielder. Nah, McAllister's been shit. He's not even this. I'm like, bro, that's not what I said, man. I just said I think he's been good, but you know, he's been solid, but this other player's maybe been a little bit level above. That doesn't mean that he is shit. And this whole thing with like Mo Salah, like, oh, Ronaldo's got a better legacy in the Premier League than Mo Salah. Cool. No one said that Mo Salah is shit. It's just Ronaldo's the better player than Salah. He dribbles better. He's got more, you know, to his game, whatever, blah, blah. Even as a Liverpool fan, as much as I love Mo Salah, Liverpool club legend and all that, I can see where people are coming from saying, yeah, I get it. Because while Salah can score great goals, take on 3 or 4 players, drop a few players on their asses, send them for hot dogs and still hit at top bins, he's still not doing things that Ronaldo used to do at his age. Salah, late bloomer. But people say like, oh, so you hate Salah, you think he's a shit player. But in no way did I say he's a shit player. It's like, it's the whole thing like, I like bananas, but I prefer apples instead. Oh, so you hate bananas. I never said that.
You know where this all stemmed from?
Yeah.
This all stemmed from Ronaldo Messi. This all stemmed from, you had fans that, for me, listen, do I prefer one? Yes, I prefer Lionel Messi. I think he's the greatest player I've ever seen. Does that mean if somebody said, well, you didn't get Messi, you got Ronaldo, that I go, oh, what? He's shit. But the Ronaldo fans, stands, I believe they call them, the Ronaldo stands, when talking about Ronaldo versus Messi, can't just say Ronaldo's superior. They have to say, yeah, but Messi's shit at this. The Messi fans have to say, yeah, but Ronaldo shit at this. They can never just say, do you know what? Both of them are amazing. Just prefer. It's the era we're in, right? It is, you have to be shit if I don't overpraise you. And I've got a video coming out, right, today on my Spurs channel about Kulusevski, because AC Milan apparently want Kulu. And in there, I guarantee you, Nick, I'll send you some screenshots. I guarantee in there, I've said, if Kulu goes, I won't lose sleep over it. Good footballer. I like him. But it's not like when Gareth Bale left. Not like when Carl Walker or Harry Kane left. Like, he's a good player. Watch how many people in the comments to that show, you don't rate Kulu. You don't deserve. Well, I can guarantee you. And it's going out in half an hour.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of Kulusevski, Trader could have played for his, country of ethnicity, but he chose Sweden instead. So shame on him. Could have played for Macedonia, being same background and everything. But anyways, that's another story. Yeah, good player. But like, yeah, it's okay if he goes. Oh, so you want to see a top player leave? It's like, no one wants to see top players leave. Like even Trent's situation, no one wants to see a player like Trent leave. But ultimately, players come and go. Nobody's bigger than the club. He's going to go. Someone else is going to come in along the lines, and it may even be better. Maybe replace him, whatever. Like I've seen players like Van der Vaart come to Tottenham. Great player. After that, players come, players go. I've seen Dembele come to Tottenham. Great player. Come and go. Like, no player's going to hang around forever. Players are always going to move on. And just because I don't mind seeing a player go, like now, I don't mind seeing Luis Diaz go. Also, you hate Luis Diaz. It's like, again, it's not what I said. Like, players will go, new players will come in there. Are they going to be better? Are they going to be the same level? Well, that's yet to be determined. You'd never know. Some things hit, some things miss. There's no guarantees in world football. And just to bring it back to the whole point of the conversation, they exposed by their own words. I think what a lot of people don't like is when people remember what they said and they show the mirror to their faces. Say, this was you. And then they flounder and they fluster and things like that. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, because it's all good and well to say one thing, but if it doesn't turn out the way you said, take the accountability and say, you know what, I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have been that gassed up. Maybe I should have been a bit more level-headed. That way you're not going to get bantered. No one's going to take the piss out of you. No one's going to be clipping you up and laughing at you.
No one wants to admit they're wrong, Nick. As I've said, if Postecoglou goes and wins this Europa League, I at some point have to do a video where I go, well, I got that massively wrong, because I said we got no chance of winning it. Yeah, I mean, I can still hold my opinion on him as a manager, but for that competition, I have to say, fair play, got it over the line. Too many people now, and especially in the Spurs community, they doubled down so much on Ange Postecoglou. They've doubled down just on how good this guy is, what he does in his second season, how he's going to... Here we go. I've got it somewhere. Here we go. Somebody sent me this for a joke, right? How he's going to revolutionise Tottenham Hotspur, right?
No way.
Charlie Eccleshare said he's extremely talented, a visionary. Yeah, right? Like, but now that's not happened. Now that Spurs are on the verge of having one of our worst ever Premier League seasons, rather than people go, do you know what? Yeah, this hasn't worked. People double down. People double down. It's, yeah, but it's not his fault. But. Yeah, but look at these stats. Screw your stats. Well, they're not my stats. They're not Savva stats. They are the club's data, the club's stats. So I just think more people need to be able to turn around if you get something wrong and just say, look, oh God, I look a right mug. Do you know what I mean? We move on. I'm wrong. Move on. Can't do it.
I don't see what's wrong with that. Some people, I honestly, I see it in the Liverpool fan base. I see it every United fan base. Some people just say, I've committed too far ahead. I can't turn back now. It's like, no, you can turn back. That's the whole point of saying, like, atoning for your wrongs. It's like, yeah, I got this one wrong. I put my hands up. I went too far ahead. I'm going to have to calm down a little bit and maybe come to some sort of understanding and not get too gassed up at a certain situation. Again, internet is a mad thing. Clout is a drug as powerful as any narcotic or stimulant you've ever seen in your life. That click, that view, the comment, anything like that. Man, what do you call it? Your receptors in your brain that they give you the endorphins start popping off and shit like that. Holy shit, I got people watching me. I got this, I got that. And when you hear someone go against what you're saying and they disagree with you, it's the ultimate. Okay, so you're gonna be that prick. You're gonna be that person, and that's where I come into it. That's where I come into it. That's why some people don't like me. I've had lots of people again. Relative high priority, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of subs say, yo, appreciate your work, keep it going. Don't mind what you do. It's good. It's healthy. It brings more discussions. To bring it back to this, for me, it's all about the discussions.
I agree.
You had a conversation with somebody. That made an interesting point there. Let's talk about who is the bigger team. Is it Wolves? Is it was I thinking Wolfie? Is it Nottingham Forest or is it Tottenham? Nottingham Forest Champions League, cool. Tottenham, though, stadium, revenue, you know, globalization. What's the metric here? What are we talking about? It's another conversation from that, you know?
It's why people like
what it comes
watching
down
me and
to.
Wolfie row. But listen, look,
Yeah.
Nick, I am going to leave it there. Listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on. For anyone that doesn't know Nick or hasn't seen his content, his link is in this show. His link is going to be in the show. Please get over and subscribe. I thoroughly enjoy watching your content. Even if it is a video about someone abusing me, I thoroughly enjoy watching it. Keep up the good work. The channel is, I see you're growing, so brilliant work. Hopefully you'll come back on again soon and we're gonna have another chat.
100%, man. Just let me know when and where. If I'm able to, I'm there.
Cool. Listen, guys, subscribe to the Football Club. Subscribe to FHTV Plus. We've gone past the 1,350 mark, which is mad. It's only been 5 weeks. Please do keep subscribing. I'm going to have 2-3 videos a day for you in the transfer window. You know how it gets. So take care. See you soon. Thank you to Nick. And please subscribe to both channels. See you later.